So we have Janeen Junson, who's joining us in person today in the gallery. And Janeen, you can make your way down to the podium.
Right down there.
Morning, Janeen. You'll have up to 10 minutes with the committee after you state your name.
Janeen Junson.
Good morning.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank Carly because all these letters of support here and all the people here, thank you for administrating all that. So my name's Janeen Junson. I grew up in St. James and I own Artist Emporium. Artist Emporium was established in 1977. So this is our 45th anniversary. I bought it in 1999. We've developed it into the largest store art supply store between Vancouver and Toronto. And proud to say we're one of the top independently owned art supply stores in Canada. I've always spoken very highly to business groups and that about how great it is to own a business in Winnipeg. It's like being in a small community within a big city. Everyone's so supportive, and that's, testament to the people that are out here to support me today. I just wanted to make a little bit of a correction on, we aren't just retail. So we have a very diverse business. We are about half in dollar-wise retail, but only a third in the square footage of the building. So the rest is, we have the tender business for the school divisions for art supplies. We have wholesale supplies to schools, smaller galleries, smaller art supply stores. We manufacture picture frames. We have a large contract for Life Touch Canada. Across Canada, we do the foam core backing for their grad photos and some frames. And most recently, I just purchased float mount from Main Street over here. So once we can get open, we will be bringing that over, and we have a designated dust-free room for that. So our mandate, when we make donations in that, we don't donate to golf tournaments and socials and that. Our mandate has always been to support the organizations most in need. And those are mainly, we want to make sure that everyone has the right to art and create. So we donate to Art Beat, Art City, Graffiti Gallery, Oak Table, Silo Mission, Spence Street Project, Inspire, One Just City, and many more just in the city of Winnipeg. So we want to enable everyone to have the opportunity to participate in art, including shelters, after-school art programs, as well as the essential healing through art for mental illness and hospitals, et cetera. So the last couple of years have been very difficult for many people, but the COVID shutdowns, losing key employees, concerns about losing market share to Amazon coming into Winnipeg, large online US warehouses, the larger stores in Toronto, and now the difficulties in the last 7.5 months with trying to get an occupancy permit. So the reason we moved is that our lease was coming up, and our rent had been going up and up and up every year, and it was going up every year in the future, or every second year. So it prompted us to buy a building, and we were looking for something close by and sort of a warehouse look like we had. So we were very excited to purchase 580 Roseberry Street. And it's a very close, incredible art community. We were able to get 40 volunteers out to help paint and assemble shelves and clean, and it was, absolutely amazing to have that support. So I had presented to Carly a timeline of what transpired in order for us to get to where we are today. So I'll just sort of briefly go through that. On October 28th, we submitted architectural, structural, mechanical, and electrical blueprints. All questions and requests were dealt with promptly, including putting a new opening in the exterior wall and installing new venting. 6 weeks later, they requested new structural drawings for 9 piles under a proposed wheelchair ramp. And again, we promptly responded, paying for new stamped engineer plans. It wasn't until January 4th, the zoning officer came back with a new request to put in 42 parking stalls and pave the back lot. She implied this would be the last request, and if once again, we changed the plans and paid the city a variance fee of $2,300. Unless someone opposed it, it should be good to go after that. On January 21st, the zoning officer emailed, and I quote, "Once the payment is confirmed, I will update the file and forward it to the planner for review and report. Once the report is complete, the file will move to a variance clerk who will prepare posters and contact you for poster pickup." We complied with the 42 stalls because we believed this would speed up the process, as we knew none of the neighboring businesses would oppose the variance. 7 weeks later, we inquired what was happening with this. And on March 10th, we followed up on the permit and we were told in an email, the planner completed his report on or around February 24th, and the file was then forwarded to the variance clerk to prepare the posters that you will need for your site. We were very encouraged by this. March 11th, the next day, the zoning officer emailed. It was brought to my attention, I misread the status of the variance and the file is still with the planner. March 15th, the planner emailed. Planning has reviewed the application. I have begun to prepare a report today. I expect this will be completed within the next day or two, at which time the public notice posters can be preparing. These public notice posters are placed on the property, notifying the public of the city's decision to approve the variance. They must be left on the property for 14 days. We were, again, thinking this was going in the right direction. The next day, March 16th, the planner emails. As we reviewed the application internally, it is determined that urban planning could not support the variance to permit a gravel parking area at the back of the property. We will be making a decision to reject the variance to permit a gravel parking area. I appreciate your patience with this application. You can only imagine how upsetting this news was. So I'm just going to go into the reasons why the planner rejected. The planner states in the context of section 247/3, the urban planning division rejects for the following reasons. A, is not consistent with Plan Winnipeg in that it supports compatible development in the general manufacturing area. In Plan Winnipeg, it says retain and strengthen manufacturing areas by ensuring they do not transition from non-manufacturing and non-warehouse uses. Well, we just purchased another light manufacturing business. So we are moving our old framing division into there and float mount into a big dust-free room. So in fact, our retail has gone from 10,000 square feet down to 6,030. The rest is light manufacturing. So we are increasing our light manufacturing, not decreasing. B, the planner's reason for the decision does create a substantial adverse effect on the amenities, use, safety, and convenience in the adjoining property and adjacent area, including an area separated from the property by a street or waterway, in that the gravel surfacing has an adverse effect on functionality of the subject property's accessory parking area and on surrounding streets and properties. It is evident by the photos I submitted on the file that surrounding properties are in fact gravel behind on every side of us. Behind our lot, and not paved as indicated. We will not be using it, so it has no adverse effect on us. C, is not the minimum modification of a zoning bylaw required to relieve the injurious effect of the zoning bylaw of the applicant's property and the 11,400 square feet is able to be paved. Not sure what that is, but yes, it is able to be paved, but we cannot afford it at this time, and it's not going to be used for parking. So D, is not compatible with the area in which the property to be affected is situated, in that the surrounding area is characterized by warehouse and manufacturing uses that have paved accessory parking areas. And as I submitted the photos again, that's incorrect, as the submitted photos clearly show the surrounding, areas. Shouldn't talk with my hands. All the buildings on each side of us, their accessory parking is gravel. So our reasons for appealing the variance, I conducted an analysis on the parking spaces we need. In 2021, we had 24,895 customers, divided by 365 days, 7 hours a day, 15 minutes on average they spend in the store, is 2.64 plus 3 to 4 of our staff members park. So that's 6.43 on average at any given time, which is consistent with the, I'm just finishing.
Yeah, we'll move extension. And
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I'm almost finished. So that's in consistent with what we used to have, was 7 parking stalls plus a handicap stall for almost 40 years at our old location with no street parking. So right now we have 13, plus there's an extra grassed area. You could park 3 more cars, plus 5 right in front of our building on the street, is 21, which is 3 times the, amount of parking that my analysis says we need. 42 spots is a 525% increase over what we had, and it's 600 and something % over what we require. The lot is not visible from the street. It does not cause any adverse effect on the neighboring businesses or the neighborhood. Both the previous building businesses had some retail component. They weren't just warehouses. Bel-Air Rentals had people coming and going, renting tablecloths and dishes and everything, and Blinds Are Beautiful had a showroom for people to come and buy blinds. Just on that street, 575 Roseberry has gravel in the front and the back. There's numerous. The vacant lot next door to us is a bit of an eyesore with graffiti with guns and, just gravel and stuff everywhere. So there's lots of others in the area that have retail, Avro Boats and the casket place on the corner of Ferry and so forth. There would be no dust caused by the gravel as it would not be in use. We originally planned on making the pie shaped lot, cutting it off and making it a green space for artists so that they could go there and paint in the summer. And we'd block out the neighbors' lots or the staff to go out for their lunches and breaks. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for listening to my reasons. And I ask the appeal committee to please reconsider the decision to deny the variance to pave the back lot for Artist Emporium, as we may be forced to close our doors after 45 years as a locally owned and operated business. We are well respected in the art community, the business community, and the education system, and I hope you'll see the value in the wonderful and essential programs we support and ensure everyone has the chance to express themselves through art.
Perfect. Thanks, Janeen. Questions? Councillor Rollins.
Thank you. Just to clarify a few points that you made. And public service, I will head to you after. So just a heads up, not after this, but when the time comes. So you are in fact expanding your business to the extent that you've stopped renting and you've purchased a building.
Correct.
Okay. You've purchased a building, you're going to be paying taxes on that building.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they're about 35,000.
Okay. And so prior to that, you were renting. Now you're expanding your business in the city of Winnipeg. The business, so you bought the building. You submitted blueprints and you provide a timeline. So 5 months, essentially, 4 months after submitting your blueprints, you're provided notice that it's going up. Did you have the conversation with the planning folks that you didn't think you needed a 525% increase to your parking, that it is more than what you require? you said, for expediency's sake, in the permitting process, because you presumably want to get into the business as opposed to the planning for the business. Right. At any point, did you challenge, to the department, we don't need 525% more parking actually. So we're going to go along with this because it's taking time. Was that the conversations you were having with the department?
I did express to Rob that we didn't need that much. I actually never did find out what the math was behind coming up with 42 spots, so I'm not exactly sure how they came up with that. I think in talking with the zoning officer, it just made sense for us to just comply with it and move forward. Then in hindsight, had we known they weren't going to approve variance, then I don't think we would have signed off on the 42 spots because we clearly don't need them.
Okay. And then in terms of the intervals, was there an explanation of what was happening the weeks that include between February 24th and March 16th? The communications. No. Was there an explanation of?
We went 7 weeks and we didn't hear anything. And then we contacted them and it was just, the answer was just, it's still under review. There's no timeline.
But yet there had been direction provided to you and then a reverse of the direction eventually. And in those 7 weeks, there was no communication of.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead, please.
How much to date have you spent in terms of variances just on, this is same for the public service?
Well, let's see, we had to change the plans at least 3 or 4 times, and every time that happened, it was about at least $2,000. So that's like $8,000, and then $2,300 for the variance. So we're about at 10,000, but the loss of revenue is much, much higher over that 7-month period. November alone was substantial because we missed Black Friday and our busiest day of the year.
Can you ballpark that for me at all?
Well, in November alone, we lost $150,000.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Janeen. Councilor Orlico.